Hey guys, welcome back to Get Motivated and Fit TV. Again, just for this week and this week alone, it's totally different. In honor of Correctional Officer Week, I am doing a video every day talking about my experience, talking about the time I worked at a maximum prison. And again, right, as I mentioned before, it takes a certain individual to work inside a prison because the stuff that you see, the stuff that you hear, because these offenders, like, they will say anything to get under your skin. I'll never forget, I had one offender, I was doing a security check, and I had one offender tell me, after the fact, he approached me, hey, I'll give you $500 if you bring in a cell phone. I'm like, you got the wrong one. And I just kept walking by. And then he had the audacity to say, that's all right. I'm gonna F your mom and your daughter. Ooh. Yeah, that freaking got me. Ooh, that got my blood boiled, because it's like, you don't know my mom, you don't know my daughter. The fact that you're making that kind of threat. Ooh. But yeah, I mean, I did do my payback in a professional way. And I should have mentioned that when I was in OJT, but yeah, when I did the video for OJT, that's exactly what was said to me, and I was just like, damn. So if you've been watching, the videos each day, I'm talking about something different. If you saw my video from yesterday, I talk about the positions that I held, as far as being a chain officer, being a desk officer, and another position that I forgot to mention is close custody. I didn't mention it, but I didn't go into detail with close custody because they play a critical part for 8 building, right? Because as I mentioned, that's where your G4s and your G5s are housed in. And the G5s, they don't come out. And if they do, they come out in hand restraints and they get escorted to wherever they need to go, whether it's to the shower, whether it's to a lay-in to go see dental or medical. That's just the way it is, right? That's just the policies that's in place for them. But when we're running, when we're full staff on A building, they're coming out for rec, and they're not necessarily walking to the chow hall. We have a dining hall there on the building, so that's where they're gonna eat. They're on the building, right? So basically, it's a good thing that we have more officers there on that building, because shit does pop off. There's been instances where J-Pod, you'll hear it on the radio, initiating ICS. We have a one-on-one offender fight, so that's one. And then K-Pod, we do have G4s and G5s in there, and you can hear in K-Pod, right, K-Picket to control, initiating ICS. I have a K-Pod 3 section that in front of cell, whatever, there's a fire. And yeah, some of these offenders, for whatever reason, they want to get their attention, our attention, by setting up a fire, right? So yeah, I mean, shit pops off there on A building, right? And I'm pretty sure back in the day, back in the 90s, it was way more rocking and rolling compared to the time that I was there. But still, it's like A building. Once I stepped foot into A building, it was just like, damn, there's a reason why they kept me away from here, because you got to have that mental toughness. You got to have that thick skin, because yeah, they'll say some crazy shit, these offenders, just to see what you're gonna do. They just want to see how you're gonna react. And I mean, for me, I guess for me, the way I always saw it was like, I have backup. So it's like, if they're gonna come at me disrespect, we'll be ready, because I'm not gonna back down. But because, again, right, I have backup there. So from A building, like I said, they do They do more escorts, right? With the close custody. They also relieve the officers that are assigned to the pods to go on their break. Um, but yeah, I mean, like I said, like close custody, that's, they're doing the showers for the G5s. And then if they don't walk to the dining hall, we gotta feed them in house. So there we are, close custody is having to go feed them as well. If there's any moves to be done, within a building, that's where close custody, does. And sometimes, right? Sometimes the other buildings, they're short staffed. They need help with the moves. And so our close custody officers will go to, the other buildings and do those moves for them. And sometimes, man, sometimes we can have anywhere between, 3 to 5 moves to about 20, 25. Like it just depends, right? It depends on when I mentioned UCC, right? It all depends on that. Who gets promoted, who gets demoted. So yeah. Let me see what else. So that's pretty much for close custody. I covered all. Oh, we also have ODR. That's the officer dining room. We have a gate that separates A side and B side, and that officer just manually presses the gate to open. The offenders have to close, and of course, right, if you have an offender that's going from A side to B side, where you going? Let me see your lane, and make sure everything is legit. Because if they're going from A side to B side and they say, oh hey, I'm going to the law library is going to be this way. So if he's making a walk to go this way, it's like, hold up, like, why are you going that way? Like, law library's over here. So that's why we have that officer there. And then of course, right, for the most part, B side, there's no reason why B side should be going over to A side, because everything that they need for B side is on this side. So yeah. And then of course, right, you have your part-timers. They do visitation on the weekends, and that's when close custody too. They'll escort the offenders down to the visitation on the weekends. Let me see what else. I'm trying to think what other positions. Ooh, I mean, there's quite a bit, right? I mean, I guess once you get your foot in there, if you decide to apply for the state and you decide to be a correctional officer, just work your way. I don't want to say work your way up, but I mean, just learn as you go, and before you know it, you'll be put in positions that you didn't think you were gonna be able to get, because like I said, right, those positions, for the most part, they're more for like a veteran, for a veteran officer. So when I was, when I had the honor to, when they told me to go to chain, I was like, oh crap, like that's like so soon. I think I was just there, like, I think 2 years. I think 2-3 years. I was like, damn, already? Like, I thought this wasn't gonna be until, I don't know, 10 years down the road. But yeah, so as I mentioned yesterday, I'm also going to talk about today, solitary, PhD. It's all in the same building. And they're what we call catch outs. They either did a staff assault, for whatever reason, they got locked up, right? They could have allegedly said that their life is in danger, so we gotta, lock them up to solitary. Pre-hearing detentions, for the most part, they did a staff assault, so then we have to write a case for them for that. And then, they had to wait to see the captain, and then the captain will run the court, so to speak. And then depending on the offense, depending if it was his multiple offense, will determine what happens as far as with the restriction. If they get placed on rec restriction, commissary restriction, visitation restriction, all that stuff. And then of course, once they do their time, they're in the 11 building, then they'll get housed as a G5. Or if not, they'll probably get housed in SEG as a level 1. And then your medical. I mean, that's pretty much all your old timers. Your offenders that are like basically, I mean, they're pretty much ready to die, and they have their health issues, so they're back there in medical. Um, I mean, they hardly come out. I mean, they do just so they can shower. But for the most part, they're just there in the hospital bed, right? And yeah, I mean, it's pretty much like a hospital bed. Um, then segregation. The crazy part with that's the only building that's air conditioned. General population, oof. On a hot day, man, going up them, 3 flights of stairs, you'll be drenched in general population. Seg, that's the only building that's air conditioned. And as an officer, I would never step foot inside Seg until I became a sergeant. All I'll say right now, because I'm gonna do another video when as when I became a sergeant, and basically like it was when I became a sergeant, it was a learning experience for sure. But once I went to Seg, it was a whole different ballgame. But I think that'll be it for this video. Yeah, I think that'll be it, because I mean, I know y'all are waiting to hear about the staff assaults, about the riots. I know y'all are waiting, y'all are ready for the good stuff. Like, I know y'all are. But yeah, I think that'll be it for this one. I hope y'all are well. I hope y'all are blessed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.